Hey, John, I have to ask a question. Are we live right now on this Thursday?
Yes, we are.
Man, what's our ad today? Is it for diapers or man wipes or something?
I actually didn't get one. I might have already been on the page, so that might have been why. But
oh, damn.
Didn't get man diaper ones. $50 bottle of water is in Florida, though. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see any ads either.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Myth Brigade. We are here. Some of us are preparing to be destroyed by a hurricane, so we thought, what better way to do that than to play Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play with some folks out in California and elsewhere in the States, so that they'll be completely safe from harm. So that's good. I'm happy to be here, though. Again, I have to point out up at the top left there, I have fixed Grimwald's name. And to reward me for that, James has gotten Quentin Tarantino to set dress his area and light it. So that looks great. Eric is eating some watermelon and a sandwich. We're told John still has a green screen. Rivers looks like an evil spirit lurking in the darkness. I love it. Dramatic, serious. Jim is with us. He says work is still going well. And here I am. I am ready to play some Warhammer if you guys are ready. What do you think?
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So just to spice things up for 2 seconds, let's go around the horn, starting with Grimwald. What's the most memorable moment you think from last session?
Was last session the one where Oswald...
That tells me a lot, you bastard.
Or he was gathering up all the weapons and ready to take on the whole village, it seemed like?
Yes, he went out to the wagons and was the A-team scene where he was getting everybody loaded up. That's right. Cool. Corbin, what about you, man? What was the most memorable moment from last session for you?
I'm still angry at that guy that insisted I leave the bar and called me a peck. But I'm proud of myself for not engaging him and slinking away in the crowd.
Yeah, have you lost any sleep over that at all?
I have not.
No. Okay. Well, that's good. I don't mean to use those kinds of slurs, because these people are backwoods. So,
well, you know, they're just
don't understand the half.
I like that.
Yeah. John / Geshwin, what was your most memorable moment from last time?
I'd have to say the end, where, I mean, obviously the whole session being kind of very hints of creepy and this whole town wanting to get out of Dodge, but the whole town pretty much coming at us is pretty terrifying. And I'm curious to see if we die in the first 15 minutes.
I'm going to give you guys 20. I mean, the first,
Oh, okay, perfect.
You were still trying to feed Unter, I think. Oswald Rivers, what was the most memorable moment for you during last session?
I think it was the realization that there is something utterly wrong with what's going on with that gentleman, the village elder, where he was like, something just seemed wrong where he stood or with the area. That was that scene kind of stuck with me for like the entire month now. Like,
yeah, the worms.
The worms and like the utter wrongness that was in the area that when I just approached, I think it was Grimwald.
Yes.
Grimwald and Unter Wagner, to just kind of like talk to them, really, to talk to Unter and to Grimwald to let them know what I was doing. And it was just one of those standout situations where the guy, it was to me the most conflicting scene in the actual session that day.
Nice. Bartleby, Jim, what was the most impactful scene for you, man?
For me, trying to view like what's going on around us through the eyes of Bartleby, just like going from being just a mundane like stevedore, like I pick things up, I put things down, I carry them, to like this like vines coming out of the ground and eating people and people burning each other and all this stuff. It's kind of like the whole experience is kind of surreal for Bartleby, and that makes it surreal for me. So it's like the whole session, I think, was as we get creepier, it gets more fun for me.
I love it. That's cool, man. So I'm going to right now I'm going to put a milestone in this episode that will forever haunt you. Before we officially kick it off, Stephen Nedley, a dear friend of mine, an incredible artist, was kind enough to create an actual portrait of Unter Wagner in all of his girth. So here we have Mr. Wagner with all of his, let me zoom in for a second. And everybody's thinking, oh, he's wearing purple. That's so nice. So here we go. So you can see the boils and the food that is constantly stuck to his face, which is just fantastic. So that's Unter Wagner as envisioned by Steve Nedley. But then the part that's going to haunt you, mostly actually it's going to haunt Geschwind, or I'm sorry, not Geschwind, Grimwald. Because Grimwald has done a lot of service for Mr. Wagner. And you have seen him. Are you watching? Did you see these visuals? Are you seeing the handouts?
On Twitch?
No, you should be able to see it in Roll20.
No, you haven't
Yeah,
revealed
just
it.
on Twitch.
Yeah.
You
wait.
haven't revealed
Can't see
it to
it.
us.
You should,
There's a show to players button on the actual handout. Just
you
click
should
that.
be able to see it.
If not, just go to edit and hit visible to all players.
Well, oh, I see why. Wait a
Oh
minute.
my god.
I guess it just came through.
No, on
No,
Twitch.
we don't see it on Roll20. You need to make it visible to all players.
Hey, I guess gotta put it in your journals, maybe. Hang on.
All you got to do is to wherever it is, hit edit and go to visible to all players, or like in all players' journals.
Yeah. And then I should be able to show it to you.
I'm going to go wash my eyes with bleach.
Oh
yep,
my
there it is.
god! That is.
How do I delete it?
Jeez, man,
So,
that's
Steve
tons
Nedley.
of fun, all right.
Yeah, so
Tons of
the great news is, and I wanted to wait for a surprise, but I'm having actual prints of these made for you, and they're going to be in fantastic frames, one on each side. There'll be this one, so you can see him at his absolute sexiest, and then this one, which is actually a little bit more conservative. You see that one, the one with the purple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So Stephen Nedley, for those of you who need some sort of grotesque artwork done or normal artwork, he's also great animator for video game art and stuff. So check him out at Stephen Nedley and StephenNedley.com. So
Yeah. Also
thanks.
post his Instagram in chat for those of you watching.
yeah. Very cool. So this will forever be the most awkward, but also my favorite moment of the game so far, when we got to see Unter Wagner and how he achieves a relatively clean back. But I guess it's time to start. So in our last episode, affairs in the bizarre little town of Feldweg grew even more troubling. Seeking answers to the strange sorcery that's imprisoned you here, you stumbled upon the execution of a witch. You watched from afar as these villagers watched in solemn reverence, and the man who was an outsider and his charred corpse a testament to the suspicious intolerance of the local folk. The spectacle wasn't unlike some that you'd seen, but there's been something more, something sinister underlying this killing. What crime did the man commit? What warranted this? Sven, the keeper of the Feldweg arms, named him a witch. A witch, it seems, that was caught performing some ritual near the town's ancestral burial site. But to what end? Was he the key to your freedom? Was he your jailer? You soon found yourselves among the townsfolk once the ritual or the spectacle broke up. Many of them sporting obvious physical maladies, crooked spines, strangely shaped skulls. In a chance encounter with Einwin, the village elder, you learned of strange sightings in the Reichwald after dark. The old man spoke of creeping vines, stranger things that lurk when the sun falls. The goddess, he said, must be appeased. Geschwin, who has apparently made friends with Sven, the deformed owner of the Feldweg arms, had a conversation in which Sven mentioned something about a curse, something about an ancient curse, something wrought long ago that the elder, known as the father of Feldweg, somehow protects them from. He protects them from change. You don't understand what this means, but it has set you all on edge. So you have now relocated your wagons in a defensive ring around the front of the Feldweg arms. You have set up watch. By the way, this fantastic map was brought to you by Rivers.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing when you don't have to do any of this shit yourself.
Yeah.
Just to get it right in the stream here. So the wagons are situated in a half circle around the front of the Feldweg arms. You'll recall that there was a bit of a heart-to-heart in which Unter promised you basically a fortune if you could find a way out of here. It seems, according to Rivers, that there's a crypt to the north that bears some interest. Maybe that's the center of the dome. Maybe your answers are there. However, night has fallen on Feldweg, and there's some strange sounds coming from out in the Reichwald forest. What do you do?
Oh man, well, is it enough to keep people awake?
Where are you attempting to sleep? Are you inside of the tavern?
I think Oswald's a bit too on edge and too thought-filled, because he was the one that was very much all along the lines of we need to go and deal with this now, kind of. So he's probably outside, like probably asleep on some sort of bedroll that he has, like up against like, we'll say for instance near this fire, near this wheel, he's just got something propped up.
Okay. So yeah, it's loud enough that it wakes you occasionally. And the funny thing is most of them are natural sounds. The hooting of an owl, some coyote howling off in the distance or something. But every now and again, you think you hear something that's just not normal, not natural. Those of you who might be inside would not be disturbed by these noises. You would hear them through the open window, which is letting a breeze kind of come in. What are the rest of you doing? So Oswald is there by the wagon wheel. What are the rest of you up to?
Yeah. I was going to say, if we're waiting through the night, then I would say we kind of take shifts. Like volunteer to kind of take a couple hours.
Okay. So you volunteer to take shifts. Who else would be up at this point on watch?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be on watch too. So
Okay.
I have like 2 people or so every shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Grimwald and Geschwin, you're up sort of watching. It's at this point probably close to 10. The village has been almost completely dead, like corpsely dead, now for quite a long time. You're sitting there sort of talking and making small talk, you know, kind of reflecting on the day's events. You hear what sounds like the scraping of something in the underbrush. Now, off to the sort of what would be the polar west of the tavern is a very wooded area. Like something pushing through underbrush.
Sorry, real quick. It looks like the stream dropped but came back on, so I think we're good, but just as a heads up. For the underbrush, I'm going to kind of, as quietly as I can, kind of come over to this wagon and just kind of like peek my head over to see if I can spot anything.
Okay. You make your way over there. Go ahead and give me a perception check if you could.
I would tag along quietly.
Okay. Why do I not see your perception check? There you are. Okay. You lean forward and listen. Grimwald, give me a perception check as well, please. As you move in behind Geschwind. Move yourself over there as well, if you would.
Modifier?
No, it's straight up normal. So as you move over, both of you are kind of shuffling around against the wagon, so there's a bit of noise. You don't hear any movement. It's as if whatever it was has stopped, which is even more troubling. You wait a couple of moments. There's a hooting of an owl off in the distance. Something slams behind you in the tavern. Probably someone cleaning up or something. The rest of your friends, you notice the halfling is snoring and making kind of a boop, 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 boop sound as he breathes out.
I kind of whisper and say, should we wake them? Or is it just my nerves getting the better of me?
Probably just an animal or something.
Okay.
But
wait a bit.
Wait a bit here and see.
You wait for just a few seconds. It's not long, though, before you hear the movement again. It's like a drag and a crunch. Drag and a crunch.
That's not an animal.
And then, from here on the fucking layer that you shouldn't be able to see, but you can't, because I didn't move them. It's like, hang on, doink. From between the wagons, yeah, exactly, right? Between the wagons, very suddenly, who is that at the bottom there? Is that Geschwind? You feel something scurrying up against your leg. It's like a sudden attack. It's like a dog that's just charging at you. Roughly the size of say, I don't know, like a medium-sized dog, like a corgi or something. You hear this sort of sound, this sort of high-pitched squeak as what would appear to be some form of huge rat jumps out from between the two wagons. There is movement out in the open space as well, which Grimwald, you notice immediately. Your friends, of course, are asleep.
I'm going to scream like a little girl, probably, being caught unaware as I'm carefully listening and something just attacks my leg, and try to reflexively just kind of like kick it off, basically, and shuffle backwards as far as possible.
Nice. So I am using, I went before the game, I went ahead and randomly generated initiative to save us time. So Geschwind, you will act first. You're going to try to kick at this thing. Give me, please, an unarmed attack roll.
Would that be melee basic?
Yeah, you can do melee
it's
basic.
melee brawl.
Melee brawling. Okay.
Oh my god.
So you have done a fumbling failure. So go ahead, if you would, in the chat and type in !oops, OOPS.
Almost like because I talked about this with you, it was fate.
Yes. Interesting. So your melee weapon, which in this case is your ankle. So you react suddenly, fear kind of overtakes you, right? And you kick out at this thing and kick the living hell out of some part of the wagon apparatus, and actually cause yourself quite a sprained ankle. Nothing so severe that you're going to take major penalties for very long, but instead of doing 1 point of damage, you're actually going to be at a -10 penalty next round. So you basically just kind of roll your ankle. This creature squeaks and lurches forward at you. And let me get his little attack situation up here. There's no particularly cool way to do this in Roll20, unfortunately. So this rat lunges forward at you as well and attempts basically to claw and bite at your ankle, but you, flailing around as you are able to fend it off. With your failure, there's really not much more you can do this round. It is actually going to move out from between the wagon to get a better angle on you. Grimwald, you are up next. What do? First of all, you see him dancing around like he's doing like a Mexican hat dance, and then he kicks the hell out of the wagon and jumps back, defensively. You hear some sort of scrambling and squeaking, and then you see the glowing red eyes of this bizarre-looking creature.
He's yelling, I'm yelling too, wake up on your feet.
Okay.
And is there separation between him and the rat?
Enough that you could attack, yes. It's basically more or less right at his feet.
I'll draw the rapier and try to stab it.
Okay. So you shout out at the top of your lungs, awake, awake! Which obviously, those of you who are sleeping will be able to awake and react on your turn. You do see this thing. You pull your rapier. Give me your attack. Now, it is engaged with Geschwind, so you will be able to attack unopposed. And you also outnumber it, so you're going to get a plus 20, I believe, to hit.
2 to 1 is 20, and it is helpful by looking at combat 1 to 1. I do believe, or it might be in 2 to 1. No, it's in 1 to 1, or combat 1-1. It says, I forget where I put it, but yeah, melee attacks. If you've got 2, then it is very much plus 20 on a 2 to 1.
What? So this Grimwald, you've not been in combat very often. You draw your rapier and you take a deep breath, like you're trying to convince yourself you want to get in there and do this, but your nerves overtake you, and something about your brain coordinating with your hand to swing the rapier just doesn't do it. You swat at the thing, hit the dirt, and it actually goes kind of skittering off to the side as a result of that. Oswald,
I move away from the wagons just in case more of these things are coming under them.
Okay. And ironically, they are. Oswald, you wake to the sound of awake, awake, and then you see Grimwald sort of swinging this sword. You're not sure what they're swinging at. It's dark over there, right? And you're sitting by the sort of dying coals of this fire. But there's something that they're looking at, both of them kind of, scrambling around the ground. What do you do?
So Oswald, in his either inebriated stupor, who's being awoken, he's going to and throw it at the thing that they seem to be kind of bouncing around at.
What is he going to throw? I'm sorry, we're having a little internet trauma.
It is a tankard of like ale or whatever from the bar, and I had it next to me and it's been emptied. Obviously, I just fell asleep outside, and it's the most instant thing I could get, so I'm gonna pick it up and throw it at whatever is there in that, like as accurately as I could as I try to like scramble up.
Give me a thrown weapons attack roll. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. So Oswald, he's pretty good at shooting stuff and throwing stuff, but he's not good at throwing stuff specifically. So we'll see. Throwing. Here we go.
The rat. I will give you as well a plus 10. So the rat is so completely otherwise engaged. If you can call it a rat, it's more like a kind of a rat-shaped dog.
I am also going to aim from my like actually take it and aim it.
Okay. So you, I just picture, the sort of camera, this sort of close-up of Oswald holding this thing up by its hand and doing one of these sort of pumping maneuvers, and he just lets it go. And I'll be damned if he doesn't actually hit the rat. What's your strength bonus?
My strength bonus is, I believe it's actually really high. Let me look. Is the halfling somewhere nearby, actually?
Yeah, well, he is, but he's not fully awake yet, so I'm not going to give you that.
Okay. Well, either way, my strength is, I think, 3, my bonus.
Jesus,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you hit the rat. Now, so just to remember, you do damage, and then the creature's toughness bonus actually soaks the damage. But you do actually manage to hit it right in the back of the head and do 2 wounds. As a result, it sort of skitters off as well, just from the impact of this thing, but also just kind of reacting to the wound in general. The next rat, actually going to... Sorry, he's on the wrong layer. Fun with layers and internets.
If you also wanted to know, I just took that as throwing a rock. So it was within the range, and it was also within my the damage actually, because it would have been success level plus strength bonus. That's it. There's nothing else that it would have been. So.
Yep. So you, as you step out, or as you you throw your flagon, and it sort of settles to the ground over off to the right of Grimwald. Another rat comes scampering from between the two wagons yet again, diving in at Grimwald this time. It is going to lunge forward and attempt to bite you as well. There's also a very bizarre smell that you're noticing that seems to be kind of wafting up from these creatures. You're not entirely certain what that's all about. Sadly, the creature actually bites at you. You can oppose this roll. So what you will do, Grimwald, is make an oppositional melee roll.
We need to discuss the definition of sadly.
Yeah, I don't
Sadly.
mourn their failure.
I'm trying to cause you harm. So you want to beat... Oh, damn. So you're going to make a roll on the oops table as well. So just do a bang oops, and roll 20 will tell us what happens.
Oh, because it was
Doubles
or something?
Yeah, if you fail and you roll doubles, it's a fumble. If you succeed and you roll doubles, it's a critical success. Yeah. Well, that sucks. So yet again, as you're trying to stab this one rat, and kind of you see Oswald throws this flagon into the fray. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice this one lunging at you, and you swipe at it and actually manage to slice your own leg, opening up a cut that it's not particularly bad, but it does start to bleed somewhat profusely, which is pretty cool. Sorry, I take too much pleasure in this. The third and final critter makes its move. Bartleby, what do you do? So you see Grimwald at this point. His form looks good, but he could probably use some lessons with this rapier. It's a bit of a travesty. What do you do?
So Bartleby knows rats. He knows that there's something wrong with these rats, but he knows rats working in the belly of ships, and he's just gonna draw whatever weapon he has close, which I think he has another one of the rapiers, and make his way over if he can make it up to make an attack on one of them. Yep.
So you can move your full move, which would be 8, which would I think get you to the one there by the barrels if you sort of shot up from your prone position. This is the one that scampered out of the way of the flagon, and it sort of looks up, and you would expect some kind of fear, even from the large rats that you used to see down on the docks. There's no fear in this creature's eyes. There's something not right with it. Go ahead and give me your attack roll.
Okay.
It's going to oppose you as well.
+1 advantage if that's a charge.
Yep, that's true. Good point. Yeah, so if you can move your full base move, your move attribute, not your walk. So actually, you've done twice that, but you'll get +1 advantage, so +10 to that roll.
Okay.
How do we do? Nice.
+3 success levels. Oof.
Wow, that's fantastic. What's the damage on the rapier?
I'll go look at it right now. I'm in the book, so give me just 1 second.
It's going to be probably strength plus X plus success level.
I think it starts strength bonus +4.
Strength bonus +4, and then obviously success levels.
Wow. So Bartleby runs up, and this is just an optional rule that we're using for smaller mobs, the idea of the death blow, so that we're not rolling critical rolls and I'm having to describe to you how you chop a rat's ear off. You literally come running up and mutters something under his breath and cuts the damn thing in half, like just right down the middle. Both sides kind of wiggling around. Bartleby, as you kind of look at you, sort of spit on it, you notice that its mouth is just continuing to sort of gape and snarl. It's not dead. It's not functioning, but it's not dead. What do you do in reaction to that?
I think that Bartleby would most likely try to kick it away.
Okay. So you just you kick the top half of it away and it goes flinging up and kind of lands in a wagon or something. It's in the food wagon or whatever. Nice. And give me who's next. So Corbin, you wake up to chaos. You wake up at about the point that Bartleby is running past you, full on. He has his sword out. There's a whole lot of commotion going on over on that side. You even notice Oswald is up and alert. What do you do?
I jump to my feet and whip out my dagger and try to figure out what the hell is going on, because I have no idea.
Okay, so
I'm confused.
Not necessarily battle tested, right? You're kind of looking around. You get the general gist of what's going on, except that you have no idea what the assailants are. It'd be kind of hard to tell at this point. So you're going to hold your action then?
Yes. Do I get an idea whether they're animal or people, or just that they're that they're over there by the rest of the group?
Well, just on a quick observation, you would say animal, maybe dog. You're not sure. It's something about that size: fox, coyote, dog, something like that.
Then I'll move to the fire and see if there's a stick or brand that has enough poking out that I could grab hold, because I know most animals don't like fire. But if not, I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay.
I'll just hold my action at that point.
Yeah, you look, and there is actually a poker there that Oswald was using at some point. You remember, to kind of stoke the fire. So yeah, you find an iron poker that you can actually use for that purpose. It's nice and hot and scary.
If the handle's not hot, I'll pick it up with my left hand.
Okay, you pick it up. It's a bit warm, but tolerable. So you are now armed with a hot poker, which is fantastic because like a hot poker in the eye. So that will conclude your action, though. So we will then move to Geshwin. So Geshwin, what do you do?
Kind of leaning up against this wagon, recovering my wits a bit. I'm going to pull out my rapier and attack. Now, I had -10 because of the injury, but I do have a plus 10%, it says, to help protect Grimwald.
Yep, that's true. So net 0. Good call.
Okay.
I'm glad you guys remember that shit.
Yeah. So now, confirm I'm doing melee basic.
Yes, if you are armed, you're doing melee basic. And if you guys add your just food for thought, which you may or may not have done, if you add your weapon on your character sheet under gear, there's like a roll button, and so you can click the roll button, and it will throw out the damage and everything else, the range, all the information about that, which makes it really helpful. Cool. So you swat at this thing. It's dark. You're trying not to chop Grimwald, and he's kind of backed into you now that he's basically cut himself, and things aren't going really well in combat for him at all.
This whole corner is not doing great.
No, not so much. Interestingly, just as you swing and you kind of putting weight on your ankle forces you to kind of lean back into the wagon, and you hear this sort of from behind you. I'll let you take your move action to look over your shoulder.
Okay.
But you're gonna need to roll for
perception.
A fear roll.
Oh.
Well. Where is that?
If you check the bottom one, there is common sits, conditions, and fear. So what you need to do is go down to the bottom of that, fear and terror. You need to roll your willpower cool with success levels equal to the fear level.
Sorry, I'm trying to find what tab that's on.
So you can so look at your skill, make a cool roll, make a cool roll.
Oh,
and
okay.
So a success in that will basically result in you being able to stomach the fear, which you apparently do.
There we go.
So you lean over, and maybe it's disbelief, maybe it's just dark and you can't see all the detail, but shambling up from out in the darkness is this thing. It's part person, but there are these big pustules that are sort of protruding from its chest, and its arm looks like some sort of bizarre fungal growth as it shambles forward, gurgling out this sort of mucus from its mouth. That will conclude your action, though, because you did actually attempt to attack the rat. So
Well, it's not Unter.
No, it's not Unter. You're absolutely right. It could be, though. It's this has got a different color hair, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Nice. So that's really good. Who's next? Oswald, I think. No, I'm sorry, Grimwald. Grimwald, you're up next.
I'll try and get the rat in front of me.
So you're going to wind up stabbing Geschwin through the face or something horrible.
Can happen, especially if they're in combat with the same one.
This will be unopposed because it is engaged with Geschwind and is not paying much attention to you at the moment. So you'll go ahead and roll standard difficulty to hit.
So is that a 20?
I'm sorry?
Or is that a 20?
You have a plus 20.
Yes.
Due to a 2 to 1. If it was 3 to 1, it'd be plus 40.
Whoa,
Okay.
Critical success. So, yet again, the death blow rules, right? The way you would look at this is this would skip the usual damage and you would go straight to a critical roll. And you use the hit location for that critical roll. But given the size of this thing, you literally just it's like a moment where Sigmar reaches down and takes your hand and you cut this thing right down the middle like a banana. Just little splatter noise and squeak comes out as the air is forced out of its lungs and you kill it. What do? You still have a move action. You're just staring at this thing in disbelief and excitement, like Luke when he first lit the lightsaber, right? What do you do? What do you do?
Did I notice something to freak out Geschwind, or would I be focused on the rat that's sneaking up behind me?
You've been dancing around with this rat. At this moment, you might notice that he's not even facing you, which is really weird. He's looking out into the darkness. You're thinking there must be more rats coming. You picture in your head like these tides of rats that must be coming.
Well, I'm going to move and corner the one I know about. So,
okay,
moving towards that one.
Okay. Oswald, what do you do? So I'm guessing you probably stood up. You're not just kind of chilling.
Actually, I like to think that Oswald just rolled over in his bedroll. He's still in it. He threw the tankard, and then he's just kind of staring and rubbing his eyes in disbelief after he conked this thing on the head, basically.
Nice. Okay. So you're just kind of watching it happen.
So he will look around, and I want to make a skill use roll of perception to kind of get my bearings on my surroundings after I have stood up, and I actually want to make a little bit of a movement and then stand up on a side railing of this to kind of look out over the I guess over the wagons and stuff.
Yeah.
And this one would be our dear old Unter Wagner's cabin, because it's or rather wagon of solitude, if you will. It's the fancy one. And I will stand up on a side railing that he uses to get in and out, and kind of look over the wagons in every direction to try and see if I could see anything at all.
So the good news is he's too broad to be enclosed in a wagon. He spills out. So his has a roof, but then posts. Still, sorry about that. He has a roof and then some posts, basically, that he sits in there. It's open or along the sides. So you kind of step up and gain a vantage point. At that angle, though, what you see is that sort of barrel wagon there. You don't have a good view of the particular thing you're looking for. But looking out in the distance, give me a perception check and see what you see or what you hear from this vantage point. Wow. Ooh. You step up. And actually, you just kind of in your sort of adrenaline-driven push to get up on this wagon, you jump up a little higher than you even intended, and you do get a decent vantage point. You see this thing as well. Although from here, you just don't know what you're looking at. It kind of does look like Unter. It's this hulking, grotesque form, but it walks strangely. And you notice that it drags something behind it. You're not sure what. Roughly man-sized or child-sized.
We're implying that Unter doesn't walk strangely.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really even walk. He just kind of... Also, we've set a record. We were almost an hour or something in, and we haven't talked to Unter yet.
I know.
He's having sleep apnea in the tavern. It's fine. What do you do?
We finally greased him up enough to fit in through the door.
He took the back wall out.
I think with my actual action, I'm going to probably pull myself all the way up onto the top of his little like pagoda
Okay.
wagon, and I want to get up all the way on top of it to like get a further look around.
Okay. Give me a quick athletics check just to see how well that works out for you. Should be pretty easy though.
Oh God!
This is why I ask for these things. So you look at this thing, and as you're starting to climb, your foot actually slips, and you literally let's see what the oops table says. It's
Is that correct? Or...
no, exclamation point in the front, and then oops,
Gotcha.
and then a run. Oh, your maneuver has been misjudged, leaving you out of position. So you actually, instead of losing a grip on your ranged weapon, it's like a combat ups. You actually lose your grip, your handhold on the pagoda, as it were, and slip, and with a oof, land on the ground, ending your turn. Bartleby, what are you doing? Admiring your handiwork?
No. So can I hear or see this rat over here?
You can't. Well, what you see is you see Grimwald doing the Grimwald weird I'm gonna kill something dance.
Okay. So Bartleby will move up and help Grimwald try to kill whatever he's trying to kill.
Okay. So you move up and you do in fact see this thing snarling at him. Go ahead and give me your attack. It kind of looks at you. It's actually going to oppose your attack as well.
Okay.
It doesn't care for you, Bartleby. You killed my friend, it says.
Does he get a modifier because we outnumber it?
Yes, he does. You get you get a bonus actually. You get plus 20.
Plus 20.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So you basically it is just kind of snarling at the two of you, and it is unable to decide which one of you is more of a menace, the swashbuckling Grimwald or the more precise and dour and murderous Bartleby. You lean in and shove your rapier right down its throat, creating a rat kebab as you do a substantial amount of damage. Basically come in its mouth and out its butt. You now have a rat sickle.
Thanks, Bartleby.
You were in awe of this as he lifts his sword up and kind of holds it on the end. It's kind of like this cat-sized rat and kind of flings it off to the side.
Was the rat still moving while it was shish kebabbed?
In fact, it is. It winds up over here, though. Corbin, what are you doing? They're chopping and stabbing. You've got your fire poker and you're ready to go to battle halfling style, whatever that means. What do you do?
Is there anything left to chop and poke?
You're not sure. The group is gathered over there. You notice, first and foremost, that Geschwind is sort of backing up and like pushing his friends sort of backwards, right? Like he's recoiling from whatever he's looking at. And then, of course, Bartleby and Grimwald are having a stabathon over there.
Geschwind is where?
The
Geschwind
bottom
is here.
left, on the far left.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
They're kind of all clustered together. I don't want to go waving hot pokers in that area. So I'm just going to stay where I'm at and evaluate.
Okay.
I also don't like combat, but I'm not going to tell them that.
No one would know. I mean, no one would ever know that. Okay, so you hold your action and as a measure of you show your support morally. Geschwind, that means it's your turn. What are you doing as you push back from this thing? What do you do?
I'm basically stammering, like I'm, I guess, somewhat composed, but kind of stammering, trying to process what I'm seeing, and just say, the rats clearly are our only problem.
Okay.
And I yell to Corbin, can you see if there are any others coming? I only see the one still, right? Coming
You do.
this direction.
As it approaches, erupting from around where it's shoulder joined in that very strange sort of tendril-like growth, these unseen, slimy, sort of tentacle-like tendrils shoot forth, gripping on the wagon to your left. They're just kind of and attached to the edge of the wagon. and it opens its mouth, and this very disgusting sort of spiny plant-like tongue just kind of starts to push its way out of his mouth, dislocating its bottom jaw as it pushes forward. What do you do? So you call out to your friends, but what did you move? Do you
Yeah, let's see, 1, 2, 3.
You're like, how far can I get?
I can get about here, and I'm going to suggest we quickly get inside. I'm pretty much not focusing on anything else around me right now, and just I want to get away from this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
The great news
I don't know
is-
what to do with that. Rats, I can clearly not handle, but think I can handle.
Yeah.
That, it's a different story.
The fantastic news is that Oswald fixed the door, and it is now it's working pretty well in the interim. So you run and you call out, and that will conclude your action. Grimwald, what do? You see him just kind of run from something, but you definitely now see this kind of large. It's like a kind of a heavy man, not quite Unter heavy, but football player big. What do you do?
I run over to Oswald's still on the ground, right?
Yes.
I run over there to help him up.
Okay, you kind of start running over there. Right about then, you kind of clasp his hand. He's already starting to get up and kind of, probably bruised his pride more than anything else. Oswald, what do you do?
Oswald is going to look around for a moment and basically equip or grab his trusty old club from episode 1, and he looks over to Geschwin and he says, "We can't let that thing damage the wagons." And he will reach down and probably take a step and ignite the end of it. It was a torch at one time. He probably redoused it in some sort of fabric beforehand to basically make it another torch, and he's going to light it. And
You flare up a torch. Okay.
He's going to use that to begin his movement to get between the wagon through this way to get a better look at it, like right about here.
Okay, so you duck in between the wagon with torch flaring, giving you light to see. By now, keep in mind that having a fire right there above you or right in front of your face makes it a little bit harder to see details. But...
Oswald's actually going to put it behind him so he gets light in front of him, like as he up behind him or like just behind his head so he can actually look. I mean,
okay,
that's how torches
perfect.
Work, so
you step out and you look, and from that distance, a couple wagons away, again, it looks like this sort of the husk of a person. It's dragging something behind it. Again, it's like maybe the size of a beanbag, right? And it's like part of it. It's hanging off of it, like it's dragging like an abdomen, like an insect abdomen or something. You don't know.
What about the rest of like the area? If I could get like a quick glance at it.
Yeah, give me a quick perception check.
Let's see if this fails me. Do I get a hindrance or a bonus from the actual torch?
You will get no. Let's roll it straight.
All right, rolling it straight. Gotcha. Nothing.
So,
not bad though. Not bad though.
The adrenaline is overtaking you. Whatever this thing is, you've never seen anything like it. And you're kind of glancing around, and the pounding of your pulse behind your eyes is actually distorting your perception. What do you do, Bartleby?
So Bartleby hasn't seen this thing yet, but he probably did see Geschwin take off, right?
So yeah, right about now, the camera. Hang on a second, my fantastic. Can you guys hear me still? All right, we're back. Sorry,
froze for a few seconds there.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's clearly not my long cable or my wireless. It's something more deeply rooted. It's probably cursed. Anyway, so you have just seen Geschwin sort of run past you, and the camera kind of pans, and then there you are. What do you do?
I'm gonna follow Geschwin's lead.
Okay, you just start hauling ass.
Bartleby's taking up. Yeah.
Okay. So
he's already a little wigged out, anyways, from the village. So.
Yep. Anything for an action, or you just kind of haul ass?
Can you ready an action?
You could. Yeah, you could use. Got to use it by the end of the round. You can ready an action.
Okay, so action. Bartleby will just turn around and in scared action movie stand, like hold the rapier with both hands and kind of like do the guard thing, like
Yeah.
don't come close and ready an attack in case anything comes within reach.
Nice. You guys are forming up. So, Corbin, the moment of truth arrives. Your friends are kind of running toward you, right? And basically just wind up in a formation right there with you. And you're almost in the middle. It's like, holy shit, I'm the focal point of the situation. What do? You don't even know what the hell they're running from.
So I have no idea what's coming, but you know, I owe Geschwin, so I'm going to take a step in this direction to sort of cover his retreat, and if he continues retreating, I'm just going to stay between him and whatever's coming for now, and just be ready for it.
Nice. The brave halfling steps up. Thank you for remembering your bonds. That's really cool. Right about this point, the scary monstrosity, which is, hang on, what the hell? He's sitting on the wrong layer. You're going to see him, which is probably good because my description doesn't fit the picture quite as well as it could. You see this form spill over. And again, I've used the sort of verb spill to describe Unter, but nothing like that. It's like it reforms and reaches out, almost like something out of the movie The Thing, right? Parts of it reach out and bond and pull itself forward like a slug. It was clearly once human, but there's bits hanging off of it. Uh-oh, there, and we're back. There are bits hanging off it that are most definitely not human. It basically pulls itself between the wagons with this sort of noise and winds up about there. Between the firelight behind you, the dull kind of glow of the fire, the light coming out from the tavern windows, and Oswald's light that kind of is peeking from the other side of the wagons. This thing looks menacing. It's about 5.5 feet tall. There's some tatters of peasant clothes hanging off of it, and being dragged behind it is another part of a person. It looks like a child that's just been formed into this thing, and it's being drug along, reaching out with its little hands and helping this amorphous blob to move forward. We'll start a new round. Geschwin, what the fuck do you do, man?
That is a great question. I think I'm going to continue inside. The door and like gesture for everyone to come in, and I recognize that Oswald is not in my, I guess, maybe direct line of sight, and I shout, Oswald, we need to get inside.
Okay, you call out the top of your lung, Oswald, we need to get inside. You open the door, and you know, some part of you pauses a moment and goes, man, that door opens smooth now.
Yeah,
but you
real nice.
You open the door. Grimwald, what do you do? This thing is moving forward.
Geschwin say to get inside, I'll run inside and try to bring Corbin with me.
Okay, Corbin, are you?
He's my favorite artist.
Are you going to protest?
No, I'm not going to protest because, again, I wanted to, if Geschwin continues retreating, I wanted to kind of follow him. Still defending him, but not necessarily staying, you know, out here if he's running.
Okay, so if that's the case, then you'll move yourself with him. Oswald, you're up next. What do you do, man? You're on the. You hear Geschwin call out, "We've got to get inside!" And you hear this sort of sound from over on the other side of the wagon, and part of you actually thinks that that's just Unter having flatulence, but it's not.
So I guess about there, but I don't want to block the door.
Okay. What do you do, Oswald?
Oh, I realized I was muted that whole time.
I know you're moving.
I saw, if the form had anything to do with it, and I watched it basically kind of like traverse and go to the other side, but I couldn't really see what it is.
Yep.
Oswald makes his way back through the gap in the wagons, and like puts the torch before him, so he's a little bit blinded, but he puts it behind him so he could actually see,
Yep.
or down at his side even, and he sees that, and that is the end of my movement at a run. So
Okay.
like.
I'm going to ask because, for one, you know you're here and you get this feeling, right? Like you're isolated. Your friends are escaping, and it is technically between you and safe escape. I'm going to ask you to make a cool roll just to see if you can keep it together.
Alrighty. Give me a second while I do that.
I will
Hopefully
do that.
well on this.
Yes, well done. Okay.
Nice.
So,
in fact, actually, I think with a critical success, Oswald's going to try and fight this thing. 'Cause, I mean, I have 10 points in cool.
you're like, oh, good, a big pile of mucus, fantastic, let's go. So you've got a torch, you've got your rapier, and you're gonna plan on fighting it. That's fantastic. So you hold your shit together.
Yeah. Oswald just gets a tighter grip. Actually, I don't have a rapier. The other three have one. I don't have
that's
a
right.
rapier.
That's right. You just got your club.
I have my club and my fist, which I will use both.
Fair enough.
And Oswald just, from maybe Bartleby catches this, Oswald just grips his his hand grips tighter on the torch, and he gets like this roll shoulder moment.
Nice. He pops his neck like, oh hell yeah. Nice. It's like a NyQuil commercial or something, like chest congestion got you down. Okay, so Bartleby, what do? You do in fact see this. You see the torchlight catches your eyes. He steps between the wagon, and you see him look, and he just steals his jaw and cracks his neck, and you're like, holy shit! Like some dubstep starts to play or something. What do you do?
But more importantly, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. One sec. Yeah, Bartleby is clearly not cool. Bartleby is going to move into the doorway.
Okay.
And just yell to.
Trying to convince him not to stay.
Yeah, trying to convince him not to stay.
Okay, so you're sort of backing up, and what do you say to talk some sense into him?
I don't think you wanna fight this unless you've seen something like this before.
He says as he steps in, he's like, I certainly haven't. He's said, oh hell no, you scary booger monster. Nice. Corbin, what do you do? So you're just inside the door. This thing is approaching. You also kind of looking out, see Oswald. He's cut off. This thing is going to cut him off. What do you do? Kind of afraid for him. You're having a moment of self-realization, man. What do you do?
Where's the thing's attention focused? Is it focused towards Oswald? Is it coming towards us?
So if you could tell where its face was, you might be able to make that distinction. But I will allow you to make a cool check as a reward for asking that question. As you check out its anatomy and look at all the parts that are hanging off and plant life and just mushrooms. Yes, it's like an Apple computer. That's how many things are hanging off of it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm not going out there.
Yeah, you actually are completely terrified, so you will not be able to.
I'm actually just going to retreat further away from the door.
Okay, so you're gonna go hide like behind the bar or something, right?
Oh, that's a great idea. Yes, if that occurs to me.
You're welcome. I won't charge you for that. You might actually lose a little bit of your sanity from the situation, but this is like seriously something out of your worst nightmares.
This is not Call of Cthulhu.
This is true. You're right. It's not yeah. It's Call of Cthulhu Warhammer. Geshwin, what do you? Geshwin, what do you do?
I mean, I'm going to.
Wait, did I hang on a second? Did I fuck something up? No, that's right. Okay, sorry. Geshwin, go.
No, yeah, okay. I'm going to continue to implore Oswald to get inside, because I will come out and try to save him, but I really don't want to do that. So
yeah, what Oswald, what do you do? Your friends are all begging you. Do you give in, or are you unwavering?
No, I think Oswald on his turn, whenever he gets it, he's gonna do something with it.
Okay. Can I still try to do?
You got to move in an action. Talking is a more or less.
Like
yeah.
I'm looking for like a persuasion type thing.
I would say that's a skill test. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do. You could oppose that. Let's say Oswald with a cool
Charm?
test. You could use charm. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. You're just so hastened, you know, you don't, I don't know, maybe it's your eyebrows.
I'm just fumbling over my words. He's like, what the hell is this guy saying?
Yeah. Yeah, you're come on, please, no, come on, don't do it. Whatever. Grimwald, what are you doing? Halfling goes and runs, shrieking.
Are any like the lamps in here oil lamps or something like that?
There is actually an oil. There are let's say 3 oil lamps. Yes, along the bar. There are none out on the tables. You go.
I'll grab one. That's
okay.
Feels heavy and full.
So you can basically do that. You can run, grab that, swipe it off the bar, and then head back. You're going to need to light it though.
Or
it's night. I wasn't necessarily there.
I'm just gonna throw it at it and cover it in whatever's oils.
Oh, okay. So and then got it. Smart kid, Oswald. What are you thinking, man? Everybody's like, come on, come back, don't do it. What do you do?
So does this thing not go?
It's turn, or? It is standing there, changing shape.
I think Oswald is about to. Okay, so this is gonna be a bit. I don't have access to my oil and stuff, but is there a bottle of alcohol near me?
No.
He's like, okay. Well, Oswald is going to step on over to here in a walk, and he is going to put the fire between him and himself, the little like roaring fire.
Okay.
And he's gonna essentially. I think I'm gonna kick the kernels of the fire towards it, like
the embers.
The embers, yeah. Like just to kick it towards it.
Just like in a challenge. So just as you do that, it literally roars and starts just kind of melting and reforming toward you. Almost like picture a wax figure melting, except that it's growing new appendages and bone is cracking to allow it to change shape enough to do that. And it does, in fact, close the distance between you and it. It is going to make itself a melee attack against you, and you may oppose that.
Alrighty.
How'd we do? Oh, so it seems to recoil a bit when it approaches. Did we get your roll in there, Rivers?
Oh no, I haven't rolled yet. Okay. Sorry.
I just need to see if you fumbled in the process, but it basically no. So you step back, just kind of waving this torch. It moves entirely too fast for your liking, but it does actually seem to shrink back from the fire and fall short of its attack. The thing that's really disturbing is it swings this sort of flap of skin that seems to have grown these strange little suction cups and barbs that weren't there before. This is scary.
Ooh.
Bartleby,
oh no.
Bartleby, what do you do?
I think Bartleby is not going out there. there is no way.
I was waiting for you to be like, he does this really heroic thing. You're like, no, fuck that.
Just gonna sit there in disbelief as Oswald has made his choices.
Seeing this whole thing super well lit by the fire too, the shadows dancing off of it.
Yes. Yes. Various mouths and holes opening up, leaking sort of pus.
I don't think so.
So you just remain where you are and kind of keep goading him on to
yeah.
Jim. Okay.
Yeah.
Corbin, you are again sort of cowering. Do you take any action whatsoever? You can't take any action against this thing. Ooh, look at you.
Okay.
You got your shit back enough that you see there's
I'm
brandy
kind of
there.
ashamed at my cowardly dodge behind the bar, but that's really borderline there. So I'm going to kind of slink out and try not to draw too much attention to myself and sort of quietly make my way back over here. But I'm not brave enough to go out that door yet.
Okay, you stand and sort of straighten your coats out and kind of make your way back. You from where you are, just as you get right there behind Bartleby, sort of next to his side and between his legs, you can see this thing's form. It's attacking your friend. This is terrifying. It's going to come for you next. You're so fucked. These are the things that go through your head. Geshwin, what do you do?
I'm not going to go outside yet. I look for like a bottle or a mug on the table nearby, hopefully, just in a vain effort to try to like distract it and toss it. Not really thinking I'm going to be able to hit it, and really hoping I don't hit Oswald.
Closer, you could step over and grab something off the table. There's also a cloak rack there by the door that you could throw like sort of an Olympic pole or something. Like, hey, what do you do?
I definitely don't trust myself with that, so I'm going to step over to the table, grab like a mug, and just throw it, and like not even really trying to hit it, but trying to like throw it towards the right side of it, so I'm as far away from Oswald as I can, but trying to hit it / distract behind it.
Gotcha. Give me a ranged throwing roll, please.
Oh boy. Let's throw it into the door in front of me.
Right in Unter's cabin.
So you step forward and literally just kind of fling it, and it goes over the creature. The thing that's disturbing is you may have hit it, but just as you've thrown this thing and it's tumbling, and let's say the camera's following it toward this creature, the creature's head just goes and stretches out, and the thing flies right in between where it would have been. You could have been great, you think to yourself.
That's not creepy at all.
Grimwald,
Oswald,
what do you do?
Get in here.
Unfortunately, I'm stuck with it for a minute. So
Grimwald, what do you do? You've got the oil.
Yeah, I move out to here, yell at Oswald to break away if you can, or just make some distance and throw the oil at the thing.
Okay, so you elbow both Geshwind and Bartleby and basically get out of the way, push your way through. You say that. I'm going to ask you to give me a thrown melee roll as well, or a thrown, ranged thrown roll as well. But given what you're trying to do, I'm going to give you a +20. Because you're just trying to get it wet.
Oh.
He didn't do it by one negative success level. Jeez.
So the way I approach these is logic, right? The failure isn't that you miss. The failure is what?
Spend a fortune on that?
You can absolutely spend a fortune point and reroll, and I'll not say what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And Oswald thanks you. So go ahead and reroll, please.
Oh, come on.
Don't forget your +20.
Literally the same thing.
That is amazing.
Oh, roll 20.
My script is working. It's the fail at pivotal moment script that I wrote. So you pop the cork off this thing, and I'm having my ping problem.
Good frozen.
Yep, I know. Yep, I'm back. Right? We're back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Fucking internet. Anyway, so you pop the cork on this thing, Grimwald, and you fling it, but you over fling it, and you soak both the creature and Oswald. Oswald, you feel the kind of splatter of some liquid across you, and smell that kind of familiar stench of lamp oil. But you have, in fact, gotten both. It didn't, however, get your torch, which is good. Although it may. If you fumble during this combat, you will light yourself on fire. Oswald, what do you do with that?
Oswald is going to curse underneath his breath and try to strike home at this shambling whatever the hell.
Okay, you do it. Give me that damn roll. It's going to oppose you as well, because that's what it does.
Okay, I fail. I might re-roll it actually.
Don't forget, guys. You got fortune points that you can spend to re-roll, or increase the success level if you need to.
I'm gonna see if what this thing does before I decide if I want to re-roll or not. If it passes, I might just.
Let's see. Come on. No. So it fails as well.
I'm going to. In fact, I'm going to use the actual gear for it. I'm going to spend a fortune point of mine to reroll.
Okay, do it.
Oh God!
Oh shit! I am so sorry. Whoosh. So you are on fire now. This is
the rules for a blaze are actually in in the things that I have. So
I'm gonna give you on my handy dandy tracker that we made. It's we're gonna sell it for $1 on Patreon or some shit. You are now ablazed. I'm sorry.
that's all right. So give me a second.
I appreciate you looking that up.
And blaze is going to be negative, or every round per blaze level, which we need to look at the ablaze.
Yep.
Actual level of what it is. I think I'm at level 1 right now. So it's
yeah, you are. So it's normally only applied if you're flammable, right? So basically, at the end of the round, you suffer 1d10 wounds, which is bad. Modified by toughness and armor, of course, with a minimum of 1 wound per round. Each extra ablaze condition, which can't really happen, you'd have to get doused more with oil. But each extra ablaze would basically add +1 to the damage. So that's bad.
Athletic test to remove it.
Yes, the stop, drop, and roll. So for the moment, you're going to take your roll 1d10. What is that? I'm looking at it probably. Okay. I'll let you roll your 1d10 to determine your fate there, Oswald.
Alrighty.
For this round.
3.
Not too bad. So your toughness soaks that up, and your armor as well, your clothing and such. You are on fire for this round. It hasn't gotten through, but you feel the heat and the panic, obviously, because you're very much a Human Torch now. Of course, it occurs to you that your assailant is also covered in oil. I'll give you that one. That ends your turn. Bartleby, what do you do? So you, standing in the doorway watching this from afar, you see your friend just valiantly try to hit this thing, and basically as he's coming across, a little bit of the oil from his torch drips on him and just whoosh, up he goes.
That guy's actually on fire. That's not CGI, folks. All right. So Bartleby knows that he needs to come out and try to help. So he will make his way 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll make his way out. Whoop, sorry, I have the ruler selected. Okay, so he'll make his way out and over here next to the fire. That's about as far as he can get, and he'll try to stab at it with his rapier.
Okay, you come up, and this at this point is outnumbered 3-1, which basically gives you a plus. What is it? 40. Rivers?
Oh, I thought, well, it has to be in melee. That's why I didn't add, because I would have passed the first time if I would have gotten the bonus.
The first time you tried to attack was 2-1?
I didn't have the bonus in there because he was ranged, so I didn't put it in there.
Oh, no, you are right. It is melee. No, you are absolutely right. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So it's just straight roll is fine. It'll be
but it is a 2-1, so it is a plus 20, but
Mhm.
because he charged, he gets a plus 30, so.
Well, it's just a moment where Bartleby comes in and cuts its head straight the fuck off. Like, just like you did with the rat, just like...
Oh my god.
That's impressive.
To its left arm. It doesn't have a left arm at the moment, but so...
Bartleby is the secret ninja.
So we're gonna do... so crit, arm, L. So if you do, just for future reference, if you do exclamation point crit and then body part. So if you did exclamation point crit arm, it will tell you what happens. So basically, you rip through this thing's shoulder, and it's literally like cutting through like a meatloaf or something. It's not substantial, and slime and shit flies everywhere. It takes a couple of wounds, and you amputate a quarter of it. It just goes down on the ground and literally starts to disintegrate into these tiny little worms. You feel vindicated. You're glad you came. Corbin.
So do these worms look like the worms that we encountered on the road?
First blush, it looks like a pile of ramen. I'll get back to you on that.
Got it.
Because in the
Okay,
moment, yep. Corbin, what do you do? So you see fucking Bartleby just, you're just approaching the door, and he just hauls ass outside, just runs out. What do you do?
Well, most of my companions are outside. 1, 2, 3. How far can I move?
You can move twice your move, which is probably 8 for you. And then if you want to run, you can do like twice
no,
that.
it would be 6. I'm afraid. I have short legs. So I can get, I think, probably about here. So I'll charge out after them and see if there's anything I can do to help. But I'm going to come up a little short.
So, Geschwind, you see. So did you see the
Was that a short joke?
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Did you see?
It was subtle.
Your buddy catch on fire. I didn't notice if you were back.
Yes, I did.
All right,
Yep.
so you know what's going on. Okay, so basically,
Yes.
You see the halfling run past you. You're now the only person in the tavern. Everybody else is chased out. You're there. What do you do? Peer pressure.
This coat rack, whatever. Are there any like sturdy, heavy coats on it, like or?
Yes, there are a couple of
okay.
cloaks. Yeah, there are a couple of decent cloaks.
Okay, I'm gonna grab kind of the heaviest one I see real quickly, and 1, 2, 3. Run out here and try to like cover Oswald with it to try to suffocate the flames.
Okay, you go up. I'm just gonna do a melee basic roll just to see how well that
poorly
goes.
I do it.
Yeah, no, it is. No, I just didn't see a number. Okay, so you come up and he's thoroughly ablaze at this point, but you wrap the thing around him this round. You'll be able to pat it and kind of douse the flames that way, but you do actually kind of go up and just flop it around him. The trouble is it's pretty flammable as well, so you notice that it's actually starting to smolder almost immediately upon wrapping it because it's fur-lined.
You guys are gonna kill me.
So the stench of burning hair is suddenly wafting around, but you've got leverage on this fire, and so you do think he may look like Freddy Krueger when you're done, but you're gonna be okay. Grandma, what do you do? Fucking chaos, man. You're looking around, and fire, and there's a fur coat, and the halflings out here now all of a sudden. What the hell? What do you do?
Help put Oswald out.
Okay. I will allow the two of you. So with that action between the two of you, you will in fact douse the fire. He'll be smoldering still, so he'll look like a cartoon when the cartoon character gets burnt. So you're gonna need to move closer to him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and move him out of reach of the thing.
Oh no, that would cause me to get hit because I'm in combat with it. So I have to stay in combat.
Well, he doesn't know. So you come up. So you decide. You have no idea what this thing, how it would react. If you want to,
I'm between it and him, and I'm getting him out of the way.
So you're gonna have to basically, you're gonna tackle him to the ground is the way that's gonna play out, because in the moment it's not like you usher someone by the shoulders nicely. Hey, you're on fire, buddy. Let's just step over here. You just fucking nail it. Just flatten him out on the ground. So the two of you are prone at this point, but he will no longer be dying from flames. The creature will, in fact, attempt to attack, and it will do so unopposed for the moment. And as soon as my ping comes back, which it has, and I'm about to destroy my computer. So you hit the Oswald so hard that this shambling creature basically whiffs. You smell the stink of rotten fungi, just this rotten, disgusting infection smell as the air moves past you, but you do tackle Oswald to the ground. Oswald, you are unfortunately really kind of unable to do much. Your buddies are clearly putting you out. How do you help?
Let's see. Oswald's really annoyed. Like actually annoyed. He wouldn't have been on fire had it not been for them. So he's kind of just annoyed at general, but he's gonna try to scramble to his feet and if he can, that'll take his turn, I guess. Like,
so
push himself away from them and get back to his feet so he can continue.
So I'll give you a choice. You can allow them to put you the whole way out, in which case that's your action. You're just going to have to stay put. Or you can in fact break away from them and push away, in which case you will lose the burning condition, but it may come back because you're smoldering. You choose.
Oswald's not unintelligent. He will let them put him out for the time. Can he like assist as part of like he's just out this turn? Then
give me an athletics check. Actually, you can, and with them helping, give yourself a healthy dose of plus 40 as you roll around, remembering a song that your mom used to sing to you. Jesus Christ.
I'll spend another fortune to re-roll that.
I picture you rolling into the fire.
There we go. That's better.
So you're not helping. You're not hurting, and you're not helping.
That's
you're rolling
with the
around.
plus 40?
Yeah, that's with the plus 40. I just have...
Did we lose you, Oswald?
No,
not
I'm
usually. Here. Okay, I think I lost me for a second. That's fantastic. I love it when that happens. So you don't roll into the fire. They basically hold you still and are like, hold still, you fool, you're on fire, kind of thing. And they will put you out this round though, so you can remove that burning condition.
No, he said I'm getting put out this round. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that, and then right after he like froze.
Yes, I like froze. It's amazing that this is the day when my internet decides to totally just turn into jelly. But Bartleby, that means you're up next. So you're basically putting him out, right? Or no, you're not. That was
no, Bartleby is not.
I'm sorry, that was Geshwan. What do you do?
So how does shoving work in this system?
Give me. So it would essentially be a brawl. What are you trying to achieve?
Okay. So Bartleby is going to kind of pivot around and attempt to shove this thing onto the campfire.
Nice. Okay. So you will give me a melee brawling.
Okay.
Melee unarmed brawling. Actually, brawling. Yeah.
Okay. Do I still get the?
Yes, you do. Okay. Let me see who is fighting.
Is it 20?
Hang on. No, you're alone now, right? Mm-hmm. The others are rolling around on fire and such, so you're actually the lone gunman there.
Yeah, there is nobody else.
The lone shoveman.
Okay.
I'm too far away to help.
Don't forget fortune point.
Yep, I will spend a fortune point on that to re-roll. 1 sec.
Nope. You lean into this thing. And you do in fact shove it toward the fire. Your body weight is just enough to do that, but it basically turns around and focuses its attack on you. So it will roll. Can you give me an opposed melee check as it attacks you? You can use your rapier roll.
Sure. Sorry, what do you want me to roll?
Roll an opposed melee check. So what you'll do is make a melee check representing your opposition of his attack.
Okay.
Oh, so basically, as you're kind of squaring off with this thing, you shoulder into it, and it leans down and stabbing forward with the remains of its human arm, its shattered wrist bones just kind of flayed and sticking out. It actually impales your leg with those bones. So you will actually take 2, 6, I'm sorry, I'm counting the wrong damage, 2, 4, 5. So 5 damage to your leg, but you will reduce that by your toughness and any armor you have on that leg.
Okay. Where's toughness?
Toughness is just your toughness bonus.
Yeah, just your toughness bonus. So T, basically, if you look at your attributes.
T, okay, so 3. Yep.
Nice. And no armor?
No armor.
Okay. So you will damage yourself for 2. I'll go ahead and do that on roll 20 here real quick. So basically you feel the bones dig into your flesh. They don't quite pop all the way through your kind of hardy stevedore skin, your sun-kissed skin, but it's definitely a vicious blow nonetheless. Corbin, what do you do?
So I'm probably not aware of what they're trying to do with the fire. So I think I'm just going to come up behind it over here and swing at it with my dagger.
Okay, that
so
will be 2 to 1.
At a plus, yeah, you would be swinging it at 30. Or plus 30 anyway.
Yep.
Okay. They moved all the stuff on the character sheet.
It's the halfling's moment,
Whoa.
guys. I can feel it. What are you woeing?
I almost put in plus 300.
At that point, that would be helpful. So, do you want to spend a fortune point? Please keep track of the
I don't have any
fortune
points.
What do you mean you don't have any? Have you spent them all?
I have 0. No, I never had any.
It's possible.
Yeah, it is. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
You should have watched the Rules Bites video. Okay, fine. So you can't re-roll that, sadly.
Nope. Nope, I did not get any fortune.
Okay, Geshwin, what do you do?
I am unfortunate.
Yep, Geshwin. You have patted and patted and patted, and you pretty much think he's out.
Okay. As soon as I realize that, I am going to grow a pair and try to get into this fight. Can I step through Corbin as a move action in this?
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, you can sort of jump over the fire. The fire's not massive, and it's just kind of embers at this point. Very low.
And I am going to try my darndest to fend this thing off, at least to draw its attention away from, those that it's engaged with.
So you are also
so I get plus 50?
Yeah, you are 3 to 1, so plus 50. Yep.
Okay. Let's see here.
Wow. So after all this time, you find its body and basically run it through. And I didn't realize you're on scale with your weapon. So basically, what your strength bonus is 3. Is that what that's telling me? In parens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's that? 7, 11. So the creature again is it's unopposed because he's kind of after Bartleby, and that is a massive wound to his body. That's actually going to take him. So his toughness. Come back. No. 9. There we go. So you stab this thing and find what might have been its human organs, and there's a sort of spraying sound. Oswald, you're just sitting up from being on fire, and suddenly you're sprayed with these arterial kind of Grimwald, you as well, and Bartleby as it kind of turns slightly. You have caused a vicious wound. Well done. Grimwald, what do you do?
Move here and try to stab something important.
Okay. You step over Oswald, who's just kind of gaining his senses after whatever just happened to him. Give me your roll.
And what are we up to now?
So you'll be we'll stop at plus 50. I think that's quite enough.
Well, the plus 50 is because you charge, so I'm assuming you would charge on this. Or actually, I think
No, he doesn't have the leeway.
The distance.
So it's actually plus 40 for the 3 to 1.
Yeah, it would be 40 from the 3 to 1. The 10 is just from a charge.
Yep. So again, you step in and with a wet. Now, I would like you to make a cool test, please, for me real quick, just to give you a little role-playing piece. But it's right arm.
Plus 0.
I'm sorry?
Plus 0.
Yes. This will affect you in a very profound and negative way. This is the first time you've stabbed anything even remotely humanoid. So you're going to have to make a cool check anytime combat like this happens, because you have just earned yourself a PTSD situation. That will come back later, though, just remind me. Meanwhile, you've done 8, 10 damage, and that is a critical wound. So we'll critical. What was that, the right arm?
Yeah.
So you slash across it, and basically as you kind of pop into its was that the it was his right arm. You cut 2 of its fingers off. Not that it matters because it grows something that looks more like noses where those were. But you basically and it in fact now will be prone. At this point, I will summarize the fact that you basically kill it. So it drops prone to the ground, and then it's just this blow after blow and bits of it flying off, and this sort of pus and blood mixture spattering up as you just kill it. You emerge victorious. What do you do?
Burn the body.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You drag
Oswald
the corpse
throws
onto
off
the
this-
fire.
Yeah, Oswald throws off this coat over top of him and throws it to the ground. He's got like no, amazingly like no flesh burn. It's just like his clothing had just all disappeared in this blaze, pretty much from like the waist up. And he looks at, was it Grimwald who threw the fucking oil on him?
Yeah.
He looks to you and he just shakes his head. Do not ever do that again.
Sorry, you alright?
And he's like, if my mustache would have been burned, I would have skull fucked you to next week.
I swear to God, I wish I had actors and props because we could get that scene would be classic. So the only thing that you can hear, the sound of the minor sound of crackling of the fire, your own heartbeats, and the thrumming of the blood in your temples as you look at each other. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you have just survived your first real situation together. The defining moment. What do you do? So you burn the body right there? Do you drag it out into the dark? What do you...
Oh no, like Oswald
was-
like kick it onto the fire. Like,
Yeah.
while
So-
he's on the ground, like
We're not
as they're
wasting
like
any time.
stabbing at shit, like just kick it and like back away from it. Like, oh my god, what the fuck was that really? Like,
What kind of demon is this?
So just a couple seconds after you drag this thing onto the fire, you hear from kind of, you're all sort of obviously looking at it and on guard still. What's going on here? What have you done with Farmer Tompkins? He says. Oh, as he fails his cool check. Sven backs back into the door. What is the meaning of this? What is that? And what did it do with Farmer Tompkins? He says. Someone answer me. What is that? He says.
Oswald looks at him and said, attacked us along with these living rats, or these rotting rats, and he points to where like one's still kind of snapping in the distance.
I would just point and say, that's no farmer.
He sort of.
What do you
looks-
mean that's a farmer? Like, I can't comprehend that sentence.
Look, he's pointing at one of its faces. You notice that there is a man's face. It's here on this creature across its chest, intermingled with what may be sort of knuckles, just kind of beneath it, buried in this formless skin. But there's a clear man's face there, facial hair, and a mole just underneath the eye. There's a child still there, dragging, well, not dragging because it's not moving, but having been dragged around, almost like a sack, like a beanbag behind it. It's like something was just consuming skin. The flap that was its arm almost looks like a man-eating plant on the inside. It smells like rot, and it leaks pus in the popping and sizzling of the fire. You're making a cool check just because you wanna.
I'm trying to see if Corbin throws up or not.
So you
I'm
tell
gonna say
Sven what's
no.
happened, right? The ruckus obviously got his attention, and he came down from sleeping. Well, are you hurt? Can I help you? Oh, you're burned, he says, looking at you, your face red and sort of blistery.
I will be fine. I do believe Bartleby needs some sort of attention.
He's kind of patting you on the shoulder, and
Well, at least your mustache wasn't ruined, boy.
you see,
I
turns to
know.
Bartleby.
That would have been a grave tragedy. I would not have been able to look my parents in the face.
But at least you're alive to ponder the concept of that, aren't you? Bartleby, what's happened to you? Are you all right?
He steps up to you with his crooked back, his weird face.
Bartleby, let me see.
Punches
Bartleby is
him
going
in
to
the
attempt to
throat.
bluff and say that this is just a scratch.
Okay.
Because Bartleby does not want any of these mutants looking at his wounds. Where is bluff on here? Is it charm?
Yeah, you use charm.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah, you
That's
just,
nothing.
Yeah, you just shrug it off like, yeah, whatever. You know, you've actually, in all candor, you have hurt yourself worse out on the docks. This wasn't the worst of wounds for sure. Well, he pats you.
I look to Sven and just say, Sven, I appreciate you're probably shooken up about, shoot, what's his name? Tompkins, but you need to tell us more about this curse.
You don't understand. I tried to tell you before. The curse. This is not a product of the curse. Geshwin. This is the coming of the tide.
And we're going to stop here. We'll stop right here. We've got enough time for Jim to get to his dinner. And enough time for me to choke the shit out of my computer. Congratulations, you guys survived. I'm excited for you. I think. Kind of bummed.
Secretly, Grimwald's trying to kill me. I'm swearing.
It's an elaborate plot hook.
Yeah, the one guy that you watched fall over the cliff or whatever, it's like it was actually Grimwald. He's like going around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so to wrap up, we'll pause exactly right here. You guys good with how combat went? You feel okay about generally how that's going?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wish I rolled lower, but you know.
Hey man, I rolled nothing but like 90s this whole night.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send rewards out before the hurricane comes. That's my goal. So sometime tomorrow, I'm going to send experience rewards, and I'm going to the couple things I'm going to be taking into consideration. I'll have a base story reward. And then if you played toward your bonds or your goals, I'll give you guys a little extra. So I'm going to send those to you individually. I won't put them out there so nobody knows what anyone else has. No one feels bad if I judge them better than the next. But fucking fantastic. It was a good session, I thought.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Jim, do you agree?
Yeah, of course.
Where did you get mood lighting all of a sudden? I just realized you've got badass mood lighting now.
The sun went down.
How did you pull that off, man? That's pretty epic. James, he wins. He made the sun go down. Okay, guys.
That West Coast thing.
Yeah, so Jason, I need to talk to you offline a little bit. I think when we moved from the old character template to this one, I think my character sheet's a little jacked up. Like I'm missing some experience and my wounds and stuff aren't right. So I think we gotta put it back to good before next session.
Okay, yeah. So you guys, that's actually a good point. You should be backing up your characters reasonably often, because I've heard horror stories from Roll20. And if all of you have problems, we'll switch over to Fantasy Grounds or something, or paper. You guys can just you guys can just hold your sheets up like this. Go, no, see, look, I've got
this one.
Yeah.
Where should we be at experience? Was it just the one reward we got?
No,
a couple sessions ago?
You should. What was it? 150 the first one, right? I thought.
Yeah.
150 the second one.
So yeah, I mean, we all rolled everything about our characters. So you start with 120, and then we got 150 more, so it should be 270 total.
Yep, and then
that's my math.
Yep, yeah. And then this time you will have probably a lot more than that.
Okay. All right. So we just had the 150 from the game sessions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't think I lost anything.